Hi everyone. So you probably thought I forgot about doing a video on Sunday, which I actually didn't, but I decided to do these two videos together on purpose, and you'll see why. So first we have Saturday and Sunday's image is Nova, and his origin always kind of reminded me of Green Lantern because this dying entity is passing on his powers to someone else. And of course, being gaining those powers, he has access to the Nova Force, which, fuels Nova Corp's powers, and, gives him flight and vulnerability, super strength, energy, absorption, and projection. And, well, Richard Rider, he was a high school student, and he often struggled, especially in the beginning, being a high school student and belonging to the Nova Corps. And one of my favorite, I mean, I know this probably isn't super popular or anything, but like, I really liked Ultimate Spider-Man. I really liked the kind of different take on it. I liked, that he was part of a team. I thought that was kind of cool, and Nova was part of that team. And so he actually first appeared in his own series, The Man Called Nova, in 1976. Yeah, I was like, wait, when was that? And just then, he, after, helping the Xandarians defeat the Skrulls, came back to Earth, relinquished his powers, and then had to deal with the fact that he realized he never even passed high school. So, and then from then, even, and unfortunately, Xandar was destroyed by Nebula. And so he actually gets his powers back and then struggles being part of the new Warriors and the Nova Corps. Because he kind of disappeared for a while and wasn't really, a part of any of the major Marvel storylines or anything. And then he appeared in the New Warriors as part of that team in 1989. And let's see what else. What else was I going to say about him? I don't remember. Anyway, okay, moving on. I was gonna say, I feel like you can kind of see that struggle between, being loyal and being dedicated to the Nova Corps, and then being loyal and dedicated to like Earth and saving Earth and that sort of thing. You kind of saw that a little teeny bit in Ultimate Spider-Man, and now you see Nova, with like Rocket Raccoon and Jean Grey of all people in the new Phoenix comic books. So that's really interesting. I haven't read them, but I've seen like previews of issues, and since she's now kind of like a more evolved cosmic entity version of Phoenix, um, at least that's what it looks like, then she's interacting more with cosmic characters. Okay, so Winter Soldier is Monday. So something interesting, I guess, because I've already talked about him before, but something interesting about him is that when he and Captain America disappeared in 1945, the government didn't want people to lose hope, so they hired people, so to speak, to be Captain America and Bucky. So one of the people, Jack Monroe, that was actually Bucky, he went on to be a hero in his own right, calling himself Nomad. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And the fact that even though like Steve has been in, suspended animation since the Avengers found him, and then you have Bucky who's been as the Winter Soldier active those years that Steve was frozen, what happens is that they actually put him back in cryostasis once he finished a job. So, like, in between jobs, he was, in suspended animation. That's why, like, he doesn't look that much older than Steve. Even though, of course, he was younger. So he is older. He is a little bit older now because he was active for the years when Steve was in suspended animation. But like I said, they put him back in cryostasis, and that's why he's not like that much older. And then Tuesday, today, is Doctor Strange. And so what's something interesting about like the Book of Vishanti is it's actually the counterpart to the Darkhold. And even though the Book of Vishanti is white magic, it still can be dangerous, you know, in the wrong hands or if you're inexperienced. Like, for example, Doctor Strange, he tried to use it to resurrect his brother Victor when he was, you know, more inexperienced. And he didn't exactly resurrect him back from the dead. He turned him into a vampire. And so Victor, he, of course, as a vampire, he had this bloodlust. And so he tried to, he donned a costume and tried to fight crime, like mostly using his powers, bloodlust, on villains. What does that remind you of? Dexter? Anyone? I haven't seen the newest incarnation of that show. I think it's called like Dexter Beginnings. But yeah, watching like the show Dexter, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So, that's what he tried to do. Use his power, his, dark powers or whatever for good. But unfortunately, just the bloodlust got too strong, and he ended up killing innocent people. And so he was so grief-stricken over that fact that he committed suicide. And, okay, another thing about Doctor Strange I wanted to just briefly mention is I was kind of thinking vaguely, wasn't there like a Doctor Strange movie before the live-action movie? And I was looking through my DVD collection because I still have all my DVDs. Like, when I first moved into this house, I didn't have internet for like 4 or 5 months. Anyway, it was a mess. But anyway, so I had all my DVDs, and that's what I did. I watched all my DVDs because I couldn't watch anything on TV or, any of the streaming services because I didn't have internet. So anyway, I was looking through my DVDs and I found this. Back when Marvel actually used to make animated movies. This is from 2007. And I will say it's been a minute since I've seen it, so I don't honestly remember much about it. I just vaguely, like I said, I just had this vague memory of there being a Doctor Strange movie before the live action Doctor Strange movie. And here you go. So this was back when, like I said, Marvel was like, this was another one that they produced the next year. So Hulk versus Wolverine and then Hulk versus Thor, like small featurettes. And I have a lot of other ones, but these are just the two I found, I grabbed. Yeah. So, Marvel, I will say, with animated movies, not great. I mean, I will say DC is definitely the king of animated movies. I mean, all of their movies, DC movies, animated movies, have been, like, really, really good. Marvel, I don't think... Well, I mean, they ventured out more into TV shows, like What If and stuff, and all the different series instead of doing like feature-length films, which I think is probably for the best. I mean, I will say I feel like Marvel is better with I'm just gonna say with their track record, overall. I feel like Marvel's better at live action than DC, and DC is definitely better at animated movies and stuff. So yeah. So I will have to watch this again and tell you guys about it. Like, tell you what it kind of is. Well, you can kind of see on the back what it's about, But yeah, because I had totally, like, had this, just like I said, vague memory of this Doctor Strange movie that I watched I don't want to say a long time ago, that because that sounds bad, but 2007, so almost 20 years ago. Oh, that's not good. Yeah. So I will have to watch it, and then I'll tell you how it is, if it's, as kind of as bad as I remember. Like, and then there's this little, also includes the best Marvel video games cinematics. So I'll have to look at that too and see what that was about. So anyway, okay. So the reason why I decided to do these two videos together, is because Saturday and Sunday is the Invisible Girl, because of course when she first debuted, she was called the Invisible Girl, just like Jean Grey was called Marvel Girl when she first debuted. And then Monday, Tuesday is Mr. Fantastic. So I thought, well, I might as well talk about those two together, because they're basically a pair. So this stamp, so it's from Doctor Strange number 4, October 74. Also appears in Marvel Team Up number 21, May 74. Jungle Action number 13, January 1975. And this is from this Fantastic Four number 56 by Jack Kirby and Joe Sminot. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway. So obviously they changed the stamp and made it a little bit more dramatic in terms of that she's turning invisible, and she's not just having a force field. So, interesting thing about Sue, which you guys probably already know about. So her and Namor and Reed are considered like Marvel's first love triangle. And of course, Sue is with Reed. She will always be with Reed. But there's just a part of her that is just inexplicably drawn to Namor. So, and he's just kind of drawn to her too. Him more so than her, because she, of course, is married, has this sense of duty to Reed, and of course looking after her brother, even though he's not a kid anymore, but she still will always feel that sense of feeling the motherly role of the team. And another interesting thing about the Fantastic Four is they were the first like family portrayed, like family superhero team, and they also kind of were the first superheroes who didn't have a secret identity. They were more about the public aspect of it and the celebrity, which when Sue first met Reed, she was 17, and then she met him again when she went to college, and she was actually studying to be an actress at the time. And so Reed kind of uses also his celebrity to like fund his research, and through his research he has patents, and that's also how he makes money in order to further fund his research. And so here is and one other interesting thing about Sue is when she was like at her lowest point, when she lost her baby, not Franklin, this was a different baby that she couldn't bring to term. Psycho Man took advantage of that situation and manipulated her and turned her into Malice, and she wore this like black leather dominatrix looking outfit with the headdress. I'll have to actually like find the comic and show you. It's interesting. That's all I can say about it. Oh, and then of course this Malice is different from the Marauder X-Men associated Malice. So anyway, Mr. Fantastic. And this stamp is from Amazing Spider-Man number 131, April 74. It also appears in Giant Size Creatures number 1, July 74. And Creatures on the Loose number 32, November 74. And this is where it came from. Fantastic Four number 59, Jack Kirby and Joe Simonot. Anyway, like I said, you've heard me. I apologize. Pronunciation of names is not my strong suit. So, yeah. I apologize. So this is what it looks like. And look, it's Black Bolt. We've talked about the Inhumans a lot, like, over this series. Because, yeah. They just seem to pop up a lot. So, they pretty much kept his stamp. Well, they had to, obviously, they changed the position of the arm a little bit. Made it longer so it would fill up more of the stamp. Because there it's kind of like crammed in on that side. So, we already saw that Hank Pym had an intelligence of 7. So, do you think Reed has an intelligence of 7? I would assume so. If 7 is the highest, like, intelligence ranking, like, on the scale, the character scale they've been doing in, in this calendar, I would assume he has a 7 as well. And I read somewhere that they intentionally made Reed kind of dull. And that is dull in terms of he's focused mostly on his research. Like, he's very, very focused on that. And I think that's a lot of the source of conflict between him and Sue. Sue wants, him to be present in their relationship and in their marriage. And he gets so wrapped up in his research and what he's doing that he kind of forgets about her or forgets to pay attention to her. So she has to remind him, hey, I'm here. Franklin's here. We're all here. Pay attention. Exist in this world instead of just your scientific world. So that's why I did them together because, they go together. So it's interesting because I feel like they did Sue on March 8th because that was International Women's Day. And then I guess they just decide, well, if we're going to do Sue, we should do Reed. And I looked to see if the next one was going to be another member of the Fantastic Four. It's not. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just do those two days together. So I will say we're like almost 2.5 months into this calendar, and there have been no X-Men characters. So I'm a little disappointed. I'm hoping that they'll still pop up. I don't consider Ms. Marvel an X-Men character. Nope, I don't. And Scarlet Witch is an X-Men character, like, by association. I mean, because, I still consider her a mutant. I still, go back to her story, her original origin story. But anyway, not really. She's more Avenger adjacent than she is X-Men adjacent. Definitely, at this point in stuff anyway. So, we'll see. I'm hoping that there'll be, some X-Men characters in here. And same with this. But this, I don't hold out much hope because, X-Men was 1963. And then Giant Size X-Men that introduced, more of the characters, even, especially Wolverine, who is super popular now. He's the most popular X-Men, I would argue, or the most recognizable for sure, mostly because of the movies. Anyway, 1975. So I don't hold out much hope for there being X-Men in this. So I'm hoping that there'll be X-Men in this. So we will find out together. So let's see. So Thursday will be the next video. So I will see you guys then, and I am gonna go check on the kitties. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.